So here I am today with Franziska, and she and her friend Lisa walked the Camino Frances, the part from O Cebreiro, the other day. She walked it to Santiago, I think, on Wednesday, and we actually met in person on Santiago on Wednesday. And then we recorded a short interview, but my microphone didn't work, so now we're doing it again. Thank you, Franziska. How are things? So you went. How was your trip home? Was it good?
That was really easy. Santiago airport was fairly empty.
Yeah.
It was all straightforward. Again, security measures with masks and distance. But the only strange thing was, and this happened to us flying in from London, my friend Tina and I, that though there are safety measures in the airports, but when you're sitting on the plane, you're actually sitting to the next passenger. I mean, everyone has to wear masks, but there's no distancing.
Yeah.
That's the only slightly weird thing, but I felt completely safe.
Yeah.
It was fine, all straightforward.
Yeah, good. So you said, like you said, your friend was named Tina, right? It was not Lisa.
Tina, yeah.
Tina.
Tina.
Sorry.
My lovely friend Tina Bird. No, don't worry.
Yes. So you flew from London.
It was great to experience that El Camino with.
Yeah. So you flew from London to Madrid, right? As far as I remember. And your flight was, like you said, there was no space between the seats, but you felt more or less okay, safe flying with a mask and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
And then you were saying you traveled then from Madrid to Ponferrada. How did you travel from Madrid and up to Ponferrada?
So yeah, originally we wanted to take a train, but because of the COVID situation, there were only a couple of lanes which didn't suit our time, our schedule, traveling or itinerary. So what we decided, we rented a car from Madrid to Ponferrada, which again was really easy. And we took actually the car to Molina Seca, a lovely, lovely place. And next day we dropped the car in Ponferrada and took a taxi to O Cebreiro, which was amazing. And we started pilgrim El Camino from there.
Yeah.
And I can just tell you, it was one of the most extraordinary experiences. Absolutely beautiful, wonderful to be in touch with nature. And because of the corona situation, there was a real blessing in disguise, because the El Camino was nearly empty. I mean, in fact, apparently, Tina and I were the very first peregrinos from abroad. We saw a few Spanish pilgrims, one Vietnamese student who was stuck in Santiago and who traveled by train to Zaria, but we were the only foreigners. We started in O Cebreiro.
Did you feel safe, and did you feel like the people that you met along the way, the locals, were they welcoming? Were they worried about getting too close to you? You know what I mean? Do you feel like they felt like, insecure about approaching you, or how was your feeling on how the locals were treating you when you arrived at the place?
Yeah, that was an interesting question, because we asked this, before our journey ourselves. And I must say that wasn't the case at all. Everyone was delighted to see us. Along the Camino, people were delighted to see finally peregrinos, and they were super friendly, super hospitable. When we walked into the villages, we automatically put the mask on, and we had organized little private hostels, these lovely little hostels along the way, private small hotels. And there it was really very straightforward regarding safety measures. As soon as we entered the hostel, we had to wear the masks, use disinfectant. When we went up to the room, of course, everything, we didn't have to wear masks, but just coming down for breakfast or later for dinner, again, in the beginning, just walking through the building, we would wear a mask. While eating, you weren't. But it felt very safe, and the owners of the hostels did exactly the same. So And, the majority of the day, you are out in fresh air where you put the mask in your rucksack, and you don't feel that you have to, you feel still free. You feel you can breathe. It's fantastic fresh air.
Yeah. And I think you're very lucky with the weather as well. I think you had good weather, right?
All the time. We had one, when we arrived in Pria Castella in the evening, all of a sudden, within a really short time, the very dark clouds in the sky. And we sat at a lovely little restaurant underneath some kind of, it was like it was sheltered, but open sides. And there was this most amazing thunderstorm, which I loved. It was very, very exciting.
That's nice.
Yeah, lightning and the lovely waiter said in the end, just come in. And in the restaurant, we were seated. Again, there was distance between the locals. We had a lovely table with 2 or 3 meters distance, so it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I remember you mentioned before that you were booking hotels or pensions along the way. What did you use Booking.com, or how did you find out which place were open and which was closed? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was via Booking.com, and it was absolutely brilliant. I must say, I can't recommend Booking.com, enough. It was so easy. Via Booking.com, we knew exactly, because we had planned the journey for quite some time. We booked, I think, our flight nearly a year beforehand. And all of a sudden, during the lockdown, we received some emails via Booking.com where some of the pensioners cancelled our stay, where they said not open before earliest September. And because of that situation, I actually, before the journey, I didn't quite trust Booking.com because the majority was open. But I actually found the people with my very, very little Spanish, rudimentary Spanish, and said, no, we are open. We're looking forward to meeting you. So then I thought to myself, everything which says on Booking.com, it's confirmed. It actually was confirmed. Everything which said it was cancelled, and that was really good. And easy.
That's nice. Good to hear. So it seemed like, so then you arrived in Santiago, and we met, of course. Then you went to the Pilgrim's office after we met. How was that experience? Did they have the same measures there?
Yes, thank you for pointing it out.
Yes. How was
it was. You know what? It was perfect timing. Thank you so much for showing us where to go. It's a lovely building, and we walked straight in. We had, again, distancing. Everyone wore masks. It was easy, but when we walked out, all of a sudden there was actually a longer queue of pilgrims. I was very astonished. Where did they all come from? All of a sudden, there was an influx.
Sometimes there's groups of pilgrims.
Yes.
I guess it was a group, maybe. Did you get to go to the Mass in the afternoon?
Yes, I did. And to me, it was so touching. Because only 75 pilgrims are allowed in, it started at, actually the actual service started at 7:30 in the evening.
Okay.
And they recommended us to be there by 7 o'clock and wait outside. And and I waited for, 14 minutes, and it was nice. You talk to other pilgrims, you get a number. Funny enough, I was the first one, so I got a lovely place right in the front. But it was such a touching service, and it's a beautiful conclusion. I mean, I went on the Camino for 4 different reasons. I mean, first of all, for spiritual reasons for me. There were, having experienced a spiritual awakening several years ago, I feel, it was like a mission to go there. Equally, I always wanted to walk the Camino, and it was a wonderful thing to do with my friend Tina, to be so close to nature, and that you managed to walk such a long time. I mean, I know we did only a small section, but nevertheless, it's an achievement.
Yeah.
And when you sit down at the service, it was a temporarily, a section, which was not under scaffolding, where you are seated, as you know.
Yeah.
But there was a nun with the most angelic voice I've ever heard. It was quite extraordinary. And there were 4 priests walking in, and even though I don't speak Spanish, I could always pick out certain words, but it was so special. And I felt, and you see Christ, this beautiful figure of Christ on the wall, and Santiago as a stone statue next to it.
Yeah.
That actually something for me personally was made so clear and confirmed. Many years ago, I read a book by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Love in Time of Cholera. And on the last page, there is the most incredible sentence, which is something like in English, he was overwhelmed by the belated suspicion that it is life rather than death that has no limits. And when I sat there, and I just feel actually walking the Camino just shows you life has got no limits. You know, it's every pilgrim's, every pilgrim is a creator of their own life. Every human being is a creator of their own life. But when you choose to walk the Camino, all of a sudden it made it very clear you open up possibilities in your life. You know, use the free choice to walk this. It makes you where you can walk anything in life. You can master any walk in your life, whether it's your private, professional, whatever you want to create. And this was so lovely to, when I sat there and the sun was streaming in from outside. And it was a very special experience, the pilgrim service. I'm really glad it was a conclusion.
That's nice. Nice to hear. Also because it's a different experience now, because as you said, they do it in a different section. And there's no Botafumeiro, you know, the Botafumeiro that swings usually. Of course, that section is under construction, so they're not doing that anymore until they're finished with construction. But I was in the cathedral a few days ago, and I think they've done a nice job of making the new section good looking. And, you know, as you said, also they have chairs, so there's space between people. And I think you would feel pretty safe going to mass there, I would assume.
Oh, very. Yeah. And all the priests were wearing masks, and there were actually 2 pilgrims contributing to the service, which was nice. They went in the front and read something which I didn't understand, but it was.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, I think I can really encourage pilgrims to come to. Nobody would feel unsafe at all, not at all.
So you feel like
I'm so glad we went.
Yeah, even though there's this virus thing going on, you felt safe. Was there any time where you felt a little bit unsafe, or you felt totally safe all the time?
Totally safe all the time, all the time. And in what was given from the outside, you know, by the pensione, in shops, little supermarkets, everyone were masked everywhere. I think even there everywhere bottles of disinfectants, so you can wash hands constantly. But then it's actually down to you. You know, it's up to you. It's your own responsibility. You know, but the environment around us, a really strong field or sense of safety.
Yeah, that's nice.
Never. There was not one single time where we were unsafe.
So it looks like maybe you're gonna come back one day and do another Camino, you think? Or what do you think about that?
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, Tina and I spoke about it. We'll definitely do, you know, another section. Unfortunately, we had only about not even quite, but it was a wonderful introduction for us. And we cherished, the beautifulness, the views, to see lovely history, the beautiful architecture, the magic of the walk, and just to feel you've been born to walk and to breathe,
Yeah, it's true.
Section, whether it's from now hooked, now addicted, I really want to go back. And it's the simplicity, the beauty of, of that simplicity of the life, taking so little. For 2 weeks, you just take so little. And even though I thought I was very strict with myself, in retrospect, I could have been much stricter.
Yes, that happens all the time.
Less.
You always bring too much, usually. Yeah. Well, thank you for
anything.
Yeah, thank you for talking to me and for sharing your experience. And the connection wasn't the best, but I think people got the idea of what your experience was and that you liked it. So thank you so much. And next time you're in Santiago, let me know and we'll have another coffee.
I will. Perfect. Thank you, Eva. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. O Cebreiro, one camino to everyone.